Okay guys, what we're going to take a look at in this lesson is texture coordinates and how we can apply simple textures and maps to objects. Okay, so I'm going to build a plane just roughly like this, square plane. Okay, and I have a folder here that just normal Windows folder, and I have a texture here called Simple Bricks, and what I'm going to do is just click and drag and drop it on top. Okay, now you can see what that does. We've got this brick texture on our object. Now we didn't apply the texture directly to the object. Let me just show you what actually happened here, because it's quite an important distinction. So I've just pressed M to bring up Material Editor, or you can click on the, sorry, here it is here, Material Editor button. Okay, and again, your Material Editor may look like this, but just for this lesson I'm going to go to the compact one, and it looks like this. Okay, so you can see we don't have a brick material in here. Well, where is it? Well, we can use a little eyedropper to pick a material from the scene. So I've just picked that, click, and you can see now we've got this up here. Here's a little trick. We can switch the number of materials shown. Now the other materials, if they have been set up in your scene, are still there. We can go back and see them. We're not deleting any materials. It's just what we can see within the material editor here. Okay, so go into this one here. So what are texture coordinates? So you can see on our plane here we've got generate mapping coordinates. Mapping coordinates, texture coordinates, same thing. Like most stuff in 3D, there's different terminology, and even for the same thing, there's different terminology. Okay, so I'm going to turn that off. Okay, and what you'll see is without texture coordinates, the computer doesn't know how to apply the brick texture that we have here to the plane. Okay, so it's just undefined. So what we can do, if we go to the modifier list, and you'll see we have 4 different, there's actually a lot more than that, there's about 8 or 9 different modifiers here. The one we're going to take a look at is UVW map. Okay, now UVW, why is it called UVW? Well, if you look at our gizmo here, we've got XYZ. Okay, now texture coordinates are just another coordinate system, so to avoid confusion, instead of using X, Y and Z, they use UVW. So we've got UVW, XYZ, the last 6 letters of the alphabet. So as soon as I apply this UVW map, our brick texture reappears. Okay, and you can see we've got up here, we've got UVW map, and if we open it up, we have a gizmo. So a gizmo is just a little sort of on-screen controller, which helps you control some of the parameters in here. Okay, so if I select gizmo and come to the X and move this, I'm not moving the plane itself, I'm only moving the texture coordinates, and in turn that is moving the texture. Okay, same for Y, which is V. So this is V I'm moving in. Okay, and this is U I'm moving in, and this is W, which won't have any effect in this example. Okay, so I'm just going to hit reset here to get this back to normal. Okay, so we've got things in here. Let's say, you know, this was the side of a building. Now the bricks would be way too big, but we can come in here to U tile and say 10 and 10. And now we have bricks that are much smaller because the image has been tiled 10 times in the U and 10 tiles in the V. So U being X and V being Y. Okay, we've also got controls here for alignment. So you can see if the texture is aligned that way, it just stretches the texture. Okay. Y, it stretches it the other direction. Z, it projects the texture from above onto the plane. Okay, if you imagine these textures as being projected by like a video projector, you know, if the projector was, say, out here where the material editor is shining across, it would stretch. Okay, it would. If you held a sheet of paper up with its edge pointing at the projector, the image that the projector's trying to display would be stretched across the bit of paper. Okay, I'm going to go back to Z here where it's right. Okay, so if I bring up my material editor again, and let's just put a different material on it, and this time I'm going to hit not coating, sorry. I'm on this physical material here. Okay, so base color and reflections. This is our base color here. So let's pick something like checker. You can see immediately we have our checker. Let's pick something a little bit intense, because that would fry my eyes looking at that. Something a bit more subtle. Okay, and you'll see some similarities here if I move this over so you'll be able to see. Let's take a look at here. So within each of our maps we also have coordinates for how it's going to be displayed. Okay, we've got things like U offset and V offset, which doesn't seem to be working right. Let me switch the view to performance and back to standard. Yeah, it only updates when I actually let go of the... It seems to dull it down for some reason. Okay, so this is like an angle. The angle one is probably most handy here, UVW, when we're twisting it around the Z axis, because remember UVW XYZ. So the W corresponds to the Z, so we're going to rotate it around the Z axis 45 degrees. You can see we get that kind of diamond pattern now. Okay, let's just put that back. Okay, we can increase the tiling here to say 20 by 20. Okay, now you'll notice in the actual UVW map we've got 10 by 10, so we're actually multiplying this up. Okay, so let's just put that to 1 and 1. There we go. Okay, and we've also other controls in here like soften, gives it that kind of blur effect. I'll show you another few maps here just while we're looking at this. What could I pick? Let's look for some of the textures. Let's try this one, Candy. Don't think I've ever used it before, but let's try. So I want to discard the old map. Okay, so this is Candy. Alright, and you'll notice it doesn't have the UVW coordinates on it, but we can do things like adjust its scale, its radius. Okay, and if we move our UVW coordinates here, or sorry, this is our tile amount. Okay, now let's take a look at another case here. For this we'll use a geosphere. Okay, and I'll just put the same, actually I'll use bricks this time. Put the bricks on it. Okay, so if you can imagine that bricks texture, and let's just put it on this as well. Okay, if you can imagine that bricks texture as a sheet of rubber colored like bricks, how would we apply it to a sphere? How would we wrap that around a sphere? And that's what the texture coordinates are attempting to do here. Okay, let's just put a UVW map on so we can see what one we're using. UVW map, spherical. That's it back to the way it was. Okay. If we pick planar, you can see from above the texture coordinates look fine, but from the side they're stretched, and the bottom they look okay as well. And that's, if you come back to our video projector analogy, if that video projector is pointing along the z-axis from this area down, these parts are going to get roughly the right projection, but here it'll be stretched because these faces are lying at 90 degrees to the way the projector is pointing. There's not actually a projector in there, so it's just an analogy to help you understand. Okay, let's try cylinder. So you can see from the sides it looks not too bad. From above it's kind of wrecked, but we could turn on cap, and then these faces on the top will get, sort of the right coordinates. Okay, if I turn on some edged faces here, you can see where the texture kind of, you can see the break here between where it's getting that kind of cap projection and where it's getting it from the sides. Okay, we could go to spherical. We've already seen spherical. Okay, so any texture that you apply to a sphere, or any bitmap texture you apply to a sphere, is going to have this pinching at the top and the bottom. Okay, but we've also got shrink wrap, which only has one pinch, more pronounced at the bottom, and no pinch at the top. We've got box, where it applies it from 6 different sides. So you imagine there's 6 projectors here, top, bottom, and the 4 sides. We've got face, where if I turn on F4 again, every polygon gets a copy, an individual copy of the texture, and you'll really see that if I come down here and start bringing the segments down to something like that. Okay, and we have, this is a special case one here which deserves its own lesson in itself, so I'm going to just ignore that. But let's just switch that back to, let's say, shrink wrap, and I'll get a box here, and I'll put the same texture on it. Okay, so here's a box. Now it is the best looking out of the lot because let's just put a UVW map on it and switch it to box. Okay, so this is a really good example that shows you how these texture coordinates work. Now you can see kind of each polygon there has got its own copy of the bitmap. Okay, and that won't change if I come down here and adjust its segments. It's the whole side of the, I probably said that wrong actually, it's the whole side of the box. Each side of the box gets its own copy of the texture here. Let's just turn those off. Okay, and come up here. So we can do things now like come into the gizmo and move it around, and you'll see when I move it in the X, which corresponds to U, so this is the U direction here, you can see the texture moving. If I move it there, you can see it moving. I move it here, you can see it moving. So you can start to position it a bit better. We can even rotate it. I don't know, that's going to do funny things to your eyes. We can scale it as well. Okay. Like this. Okay, let's just check what's left to do here. Utilizing maps, material coordinates. That is material coordinates in a nutshell. Okay, now for most objects, basic objects, this modifier will do the job quite fine. But for more complicated objects, we're going to have to go into this modifier here, which is unwrap UVW, and that is again another lesson in itself, because this is more advanced UV work. Okay, So that's it for this lesson. So what we covered here was applying textures to an object, applying texture coordinates to an object, and adjusting the coordinates both from within the map here and from within the modifier. Okay, thank you.